Hello everyone, this is Dr. Anju Singhal in continuation with the PPT of Lesson 3, India's Foreign Policy. As you already know, this PPT is based on latest syllabus decided by CBSE Board for the session 2020-21 and reference source of course is NCERT and latest study material which was provided by CBSE Board. Till now, we have done first two topics of this chapter, Principles of Foreign Policy and India's changing relations with other nations. Nations were USA, Russia, China and Israel. Our next chapter is India's relations with its neighbors, and the neighboring countries are Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and the last topic is India's nuclear program. Guys, you know very well there's this topic which I'll start just now is India's relations with its neighbors, and this is the deleted content of this chapter which is not included your this year syllabus, but still I will go through it to make you familiar with the relations with these countries, India's relations. So here it is, Pakistan. Relations between the two states have been defined by the violent partition of British India in 1947, which started the Kashmir conflict and the numerous military conflicts fought between the two nations. The Kashmir conflict did not prevent cooperation between the governments of India and Pakistan. A more serious armed conflict between the two countries began in 1965. The UN intervened and made the both to sign Tashkent Agreement in January 1966 to relieve the situation, but 1965 war added to India's already difficult economic situation. Consequently, their relationship has been plagued by hostility and suspicion. We all know how many we have tried to be in cordial relations with the country, but still relations are hostile and always suspicious. Next comes Bangladesh. Bangladesh War 1971. India and Pakistan signed Shimla Agreement on July 1972 to formalize the return to peace. Then came Kargil conflict. In the early part of 1999, several points on the Indian side of LOC in the Mashhad, Dras, Kaksar and Batalik areas were occupied by forces claiming to be Mujahideen's. Suspecting involvement of the Pakistan army, Indian forces started reacting to this occupation. This led to a confrontation between the two countries. This is known as the Kargil conflict. This conflict went on during May and June 1999. By 26 July 1999, India had recovered control of many of the lost points. The Kargil conflict drew attention worldwide for the reason that only 1 year prior to that, both India and Pakistan had attained nuclear capability. However, this conflict remained confined only to the Kargil region. In Pakistan, this conflict has been the source of major controversy, as it was alleged later that the Prime Minister of Pakistan was kept in the dark by the army chief. Soon after the conflict, the government of Pakistan was taken over by the Pakistan Army, led by Army Chief General Pervez Musharraf. This is very famous incident which was done by General Pervez Musharraf, and army rule started in Pakistan. India's relations with Bangladesh. India's link with Bangladesh are civilizational, cultural, social and economic. There is much that unites the two countries: a shared history and common heritage, linguistic and cultural ties, passion for music, literature and the arts. The two nations were strong allies during the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971. Then we come to Nepal. Nepal and India enjoy excellent bilateral ties, founded on age-old connections of history, culture, tradition and religion. These relations are close, comprehensive and multidimensional and are pronounced more in political, social, cultural, religious and economic engagement with each other. But now, you can see some problems between these two countries. Despite the close linguistic, martial, religious and cultural ties of people-to-people level between Indian and Nepalese, since late 2015, political issues and border disputes have strained relations between the two countries, with anti-Indian sentiments growing amongst the government of people of Nepal. Nepal Parliament has cleared a map that includes areas with India. That is the great problem. So, India's relationship with India is at its lowest points since the 5-month Indian blockade of 2015. The gap between Kathmandu and New Delhi is widening as India has not been able to keep up with transformation in Nepal and uses old lenses to view its neighbors. Now, we come to Sri Lanka. India is the only neighbor of Sri Lanka, separated by the Palk Strait. Both nations occupy a strategic position in South Asia and have sought to build a common security umbrella in the Indian Ocean. India has signed a nuclear energy deal to improve relations also. Both India and Sri Lanka are republics within the Commonwealth of Nations. They have been, however, tested by the Sri Lanka Civil War and by the controversy of Indian intervention during the war. We have helped always. Then comes India's relations with Myanmar. So I am going fast in this because next year when I will prepare this PPT, I will be going detail. This time I am not taking much time in describing these topics. Indian-Myanmar relations have stood the test of time. The geographical proximity of the two countries has helped to develop and sustain cordial relations and facilitated people-to-people contact. India and Myanmar share a long land border of over 1600 kilometers and a maritime boundary in the Bay of Bengal. Economic relations are considerable with India, representing Myanmar's 4th largest export market and the country's 5th largest import partner. Now, children, comes India's nuclear program. This is an important topic for you and you have to go through it in detail. The content which you have in your books, some more content is added by CBSE, so that I am providing to you along with the books one. India's nuclear policy advocates no first use. Understood? We will not use nuclear weapons first, and reiterates Indian commitment to global verifiable on non-discriminatory nuclear disarmament leading to nuclear weapons free world. We never wanted to have nuclear weapons, but this is the demand of the time and we have to be. We can say that we have to have these weapons for our security or to stand in the global arena. Jawaharlal Nehru was against nuclear weapons, so he placed nuclear disarmament and considered the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, that is NPT, as discriminatory. India's nuclear policy has always been peace. Our nuclear policy is peace oriented only. We want peace, whose clear impression is reflected in the policy of no first use. That is very important to know that what is first, no first use means we are not going to be violent first. If someone starts, then we will be in action, fine. But in view of contemporary regional security challenges, the present government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made it clear that the policy of no first use can be reviewed and changed in consonance with India's regional and national security. So what Mr. Prime Minister has said, that make it clear that there is a policy of no first use, but we can review it and we can change it if there is any danger to our security, right? So we can use it first also. In addition, India is committing to ensuring its membership in the nuclear supplies groups and opposing partisan and unjust nuclear treaties like CTBT and NPT. What is CTBT? The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. And NPT, you just went through the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. So this was your last topic of the chapter, India's nuclear program, right? So guys, now what are you able to answer? The operational principles that inform the country's foreign policy. It's very necessary for you to know your country's foreign policy. That is an important question for you too. India's relation with its neighbors and other nations. And India's nuclear program. What is our nuclear program? You must know it very well. So here is daily quiz and MCQ. You have to mention true and false. The first one is, non-alignment allowed India to gain assistance both from US and USSR. Right. India's relationship with her neighbors has been strained from the beginning. Right. Third, the Cold War has affected the relationship between India and Pakistan. Obviously, very true. And the last one is, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1971 was the result of India's closeness to USA. That is false. So, next question for you it is, what is foreign policy? Write a short note on India's nuclear program. Your weekly assignment. Try to understand. This can be a question also. India's foreign policy was built around the principles of peace and cooperation. You know very well. But India fought 3 wars in a span of 10 years. between 1962 and 1972. Would you say that this was a failure of the foreign policy? You have to think about it. And somehow you know its answer also. Or would you say that this was a result of international situation? You can answer, I know very well. Give us reasons to support your answer. But why? Why we were indulged in 10-year war? Different times, 62, 65, 71, 72. Why? So you have to give your reasons in support of your answer. Identify any two aspects of India's foreign policy that you would like to retain and two that you would like to change. If you were to become a decision maker, give reasons to support your answer. Very creative question, no? You can say two reasons, two things that you want to keep in India's foreign policy and two that you would like to change. You have to tell. For this you have to read your chapter again and again. You will get the answer. And you have to discuss with your parents, your elders, your teacher. Read this passage and answer the questions below. Broadly, this is said by Jawaharlal Nehru. Broadly, non-alignment means not tying yourself off with military blocks. It means trying to view things as far as possible, not from the military point of view, though that has to come in sometimes, but independently and trying to maintain friendly relations with all countries. That was non-alignment movement. We are not going to join any bloc. It means we have our own point of view and we want to be friendly with all the countries. So you just answer these questions based on this para. Why does Nehru want to keep off military blocks? Why he was away from military blocks? Do you think that the Indo-Soviet Friendship Treaty violated the principle of non-alignment? Give reasons for your answer. One side you say we are not going to be friendly with anyone, we are not going to join any bloc, but still we were friendly with the Eastern Bloc, that is Soviet Union. So why? You just clear your answer. If there were no military blocs, do you think non-alignment would have been unnecessary? Just give your answer based on your own opinion. Expected questions in exams. I told you before that I have sought out these questions for your exam point of view. Does India's foreign policy reflect her desire to be an important regional power? Argue your case with the Bangladesh War of 1971 as an example. Good question. How does political leadership of a nation affect its foreign policy? Good. Explain this with the help of examples from India's foreign policy. Mention the article of Indian Constitution to promote international peace and security. That is based on Mr. Modi's point of view. That we want, first of all, we want the security and we want international peace. We want to live peacefully. Assess any four principles of India's foreign policy. Now, the questions which were there in previous board exams. Explain India's nuclear policy. Do you agree with the statement that the foreign policy of independent India has pursued the dream of a peaceful world? Support your answer with any three suitable arguments. Describe any four factors that influence the foreign policy of India after independence. Show with the help of any one example that China began its relations with India on a friendly note but later turned to be an enemy. So I have taken all the questions, the syllabus which is in your proposed content of this year. ठीक है. And here is summary of the chapter. In past independence period, India faced many challenges to make a strong foreign policy. India shaped its relations with an aim to respect the sovereignty of all other nations and to achieve security through the maintenance of peace. So, guys, I have completed this chapter, and this was chapter 3 of book 2, India's foreign policy, and second video also. If you like my PPT and if you think this is useful to you, please comment and view it till the end on YouTube if possible. Share it or subscribe my channel if not done so. Okay then, all the best for your board exams. Thank you so much.